This year, we will be implementing the Success program to develop social emotional competencies in our students. To best support students' growth in this area, we need to be prepared to use these skills and strategies ourselves. This overview will help us get on the same page with the language skills and concepts we'll use school-wide. Let's start with a quick video to set the stage for this exciting step in building our positive school climate.
There's a lot of talk these days about SEL, social emotional learning. But what exactly is it? Social emotional learning is the process of learning social and emotional skills, and it's just as important as learning reading or math. This learning process is most effective when it begins early and continues through high school. Social emotional skills are essential for success in school, work, and life. With SEL, students learn to manage their own emotions and behaviors, have empathy and show care and concern for others, solve problems effectively, make responsible decisions, and maintain healthy relationships. Students learn to recognize what's happening inside them and to be aware of their emotions, which helps them deal with strong emotions and impulsive behaviors. It helps them stop, take a breath, and think about a situation before acting. Students learn to identify others' emotions and perspectives, which helps them empathize and show compassion, no matter who they are or what their background is. It's not difficult to imagine how this is important in the classroom and in life. Students learn to solve problems in peaceful ways and communicate assertively about what they need or want. This helps them get along with other students and get the help they need from adults. When students learn to make responsible decisions about their lives and their future, things can turn out better. Research shows social emotional learning makes a difference. Students who participate in SEL do better academically, have improved attitudes and behaviors, and act in delinquent or disruptive ways less often. In the United States, students with strong social-emotional competence are twice as likely to earn a college degree and nearly 50% more likely to graduate from high school and have a full-time job by age 25. Just as important, students who are socially and emotionally competent have more friends. This means they're more likely to feel connected to school and do well, and less likely to be left out or bullied. Simply put, by participating in social-emotional learning, students learn the skills to succeed in every facet of school and the rest of their lives.
Research shows that SEL is beneficial for students in a multitude of ways. In school, SEL promotes social emotional skills development, positive classroom behavior, academic achievement, and it prevents conduct problems, aggressive behavior, emotional distress. The research on the benefits of SEL is strong. The meta-analysis found that students who receive SEL instruction have more positive attitudes about school and improved an average of 11 to 17% style points in standard achievement tests compared to students who did not receive such instruction. Equally important as the research on the benefits of SEL, educators around the country are finding the new digital version of the program is easy to use and students like it. In this video, we'll hear from principals and teachers who have used this program with their middle school students.
So glad you guys were all courageous to be here today. We're going to have an opportunity to get to talk about a lot of things, and some of those might be things you've never shared with anyone. We're going to be watching a short video. After we watch the video, we'll be having some questions and opportunity for you to respond.
A couple years ago, I had bullied a kid.
And we started getting really mad at each other. We started having fights a lot.
Because my friends are, come on, bro, you gonna take that?
He wanted this girl to feel bad about herself.
I think the most difficult part was I don't think anyone wanted to truly hurt her.
I think that bullying has evolved.
If you have a phone, you have social media, nothing is private anymore.
Being different can be bad at middle school because it's easier for people to pick on you.
There were a lot of things that came up in that video. Just wondering what might have come up for some of you in watching that.
In middle school, most of the time you're trying to find out who you really are.
People don't feel safe because they know that they might get in trouble, and the teachers haven't seen that because it happens during passing periods. So if someone doesn't address that, then no one knows about it.
I've learned that if I just say, when I've talked to the person, they've always been nice to me, and I almost kind of realize that what they're doing isn't nice to others.
It's kind of a good experience sometimes, to make a mistake because you learn from that. So I'm glad that it happened because I learned from it and I came out of it with a good friend.
I'd like school to be a more accepting place.
I'd like middle school to be less judgmental. If I could say something to a teacher, I would tell them that it's not all about just being a good teacher, it's about connecting with the students.
I would ask them to really connect with the students so they can help us through hard times.
Be more understanding of your students and what they're going through. Because middle school is a time of change.
By teaching the second step program, we expect to see these early, intermediate, and long-term outcomes. Reflect for a moment on how the initial and intermediate outcomes will affect your life as an educator at our school. Before we dive into the content, let's talk about logistics. The second step middle school lessons are designed to be taught once per week, and they take about 25 minutes to teach. Additional advisory activities are provided as a way to extend the learning and engage the whole school in SEL development. The program includes 4 units: mindsets and goals, values and friendships, values and relationships in grade 8, thoughts, emotions, and decisions, and serious peer conflicts. Because we will work with our students in various schools, we want to be sure everyone is familiar with these concepts and strategies. We'll be sure to provide opportunities throughout the year for staff to become fluent in this school-wide language. Today we're going to take a quick look at the way the program teaches these 4 core skills areas to students. First, students learn about growth versus fixed mindsets. The grade 6 video we're about to see is from lesson 3. It comes early in the program and sets the stage for adults to establish and reinforce with students the importance of maintaining a growth mindset.
Hey, I was just looking at pictures from my old middle school years. But that's not what I wanted to show you. I wanted you to see this. We get a lot of things from our parents. And I'm talking genetically here, not allowances and snacks and stuff like that. Things like, can you roll your tongue or not? Can you do this? Not everyone can. It's mostly based on genetics. If your parents can do it, then it's very likely you can too. Did you know that a lot of people think that, like tongue rolling, you get your brain power and abilities from your parents and that's that? Like, either you're born smart or born to be good in school or not, right? Yeah, that's wrong. It turns out we're not born smart or not. Our brains are more like muscles. You can build them up, especially adolescent brains. And here's the cool thing. You're in charge. You actually have a lot more power than you think. You can change your brain and make it stronger. Check this out. Scientists first looked at the brains of animals. They took a look at mice that did nothing but eat and hang out all day long. Those mice had no challenges at all.
Dude, what's up? Nothing. Dude.
Then, scientists looked at the brains of mice that had challenges and brain workouts all day. These mice ran mazes, figured out puzzles, found hidden food, hid from predators. And guess what? These mice were actually smarter. They could solve problems and learn new things much faster than the unchallenged mice.
What?
Throughout the program, students will create if-then plans to plan ahead for difficult situations. For watching this grade 7 lesson video, think about how this simple tool could be useful in your role with students.
How can you prepare yourself for difficult situations? Being in middle school can be fantastic, but not every situation is going to be fun. Sometimes, things are going along just fine, and then something like a misunderstanding or just your friend's emotions can make life difficult. Since we know difficulties happen, we should prepare for them, right? Sure, but how? You already have a strategy in your toolbox that can help you prepare for difficult situations. Know what it is? Here's a hint. If you make a plan for how you're going to react to something, then you'll be more prepared. If-then plans can help you be ready for difficult situations before they happen. This strategy is really a promise you make to yourself that when difficulty arises, you'll react responsibly. If is always a cue you can react to quickly. Then is always an action you can do immediately. If-then plans are all about action. Here's an example. You get embarrassed when you give a presentation in class. Your face gets red and you can't concentrate. So you come up with an if-then plan to help. If you get called to the front of the class, then you'll take some deep breaths to calm down. Or what if your friends gossip and make fun of people behind their backs? It makes you uncomfortable and you know it's wrong. Make an if-then plan and you'll know what to do next time it happens. Let's fill it out together. If your friends say mean things, then you will speak up and ask them to stop. It might be hard to do, but you'll feel more comfortable speaking your mind. What's next? Well, practice really does make perfect. The more familiar you are with your plan, the more automatic your response will be. By practicing your if-then plan, you're hardwiring it into your brain. One way to practice is to write it down. Another is to pin your plan up in your room or your locker so you see it daily. A third way to practice your plan is to read it aloud several times a day. That way, you'll hear yourself making that promise to yourself over and over. Once your if-then plan is hardwired into your brain, it becomes a habit. Whenever the difficult thing actually happens, you'll be prepared. You'll react immediately, just the way you plan to, and difficult situations will get easier.
In this grade 7 lesson activity, students are asked to evaluate 3 plans to see if they meet the basic criteria for a strong if-then plan. In the example shown, the student is planning ahead for a situation in which he or she might turn in an assignment late. Is the if a specific clue? Can you react to it quickly? Is the then a specific action? Can it be done immediately? The next unit is on values and friendships in grades 6 and 7, and values and relationships in grade 8. Students are encouraged to explore and reflect on their own values and then keep those values in mind when interacting with other people. In the second program, the term values is defined as what Some examples given are concepts such as loyalty, honesty, hard work, or creativity. Students are invited to explore these concepts, and each student chooses for him or herself which values he or she thinks are most important. At no point does a science program seek to tell students what values they should or should not hold, nor do we recommend that staff implementing the program seek to do this. Students are encouraged to reflect upon and choose what values are most important to them. As adults, introducing values into conversations with students gives us an opening when addressing students' behaviors. We can ask them to think about whether what they're doing is in line with their values. So often, we don't take a moment to reflect. Our thoughts and emotions can drive us to behave in ways that are unhelpful or that we later regret. Impulsivity is a hallmark for early adolescence. In this unit, our students are going to learn to notice thoughts and emotions and then decide how to act. This was a grade 7 lesson video. Notice the way thoughts are described and how talking through helpful thoughts can support positive decision making.
Emotions can feel intense, especially at our age. It's something we all deal with while growing as people. And it's a good thing. It's an awesome thing, but it can be challenging. You're preparing to experience new things, to grow as a person. It's part of the process of becoming an adult. Your brain is growing and changing, but it's not alone. Emotions are there as well. Most of the time, your emotions are helpful, acting as guides for your brain. Your emotions can inspire you to do new things, even things you might be uncomfortable with. Sometimes your emotions help you stay away from situations that could be dangerous.
Brains.
So if you pay attention to your emotions, they can keep you safe. Emotions are not always helpful though. When you're sad or depressed, these emotions can keep you from doing the fun things in life. Emotions can do all sorts of things for you. Most of the time they're helpful, but sometimes they're unhelpful. Just remember that you are the one who ultimately decides what your actions will be, not your emotions.
How could you reinforce this concept in your interactions with students in your particular role? What brief question might you ask students to remind them to check their thoughts and emotions before acting? Finally, the unit on peer conflicts teaches students strategies for avoiding serious conflict, resolving conflict, and making amends to repair relationships following a conflict. Across the grades, this unit also addresses talking and bullying, as well as sexual and gender harassment. This is a school-wide effort. Using second skills and strategies as a foundation, we'll all build a common language throughout the school for supporting our students' SEL development. As a school counselor, it's my role to provide structure and support. I'll be sure to communicate the importance of this work with all staff, families, and students while reinforcing the language and concepts in my interactions with everyone in the school community. Our classroom teachers will teach the weekly second lessons and provide opportunities for students to practice the skills. Teachers will also use teachable moments to reinforce the skills during interactions with students throughout the day. And each one of us will support our students' understanding and growth in these key areas by modeling the skills themselves, reinforcing students' use of the skills, and continuing the conversations that are started in the classroom lessons. Our next step as a staff will be to explore the teacher portal and complete professional learning. Here's a glimpse of what the professional learning looks like. It's presented in 5 easy-to-use modules that can be completed in the individual version in 8 to 20 minutes each. Topics include making plans, building a growth mindset, establishing positive relationships, SEL and academics, and case study examples. You can complete the modules on your own, or they can be facilitated with a group. One idea is to use the modules as a group in grade level planning meetings. We'll finish up today's orientation hearing directly from students about how this program has helped them focus, learn, and grow.
My favorite part was when we shared out online values, how you help somebody, being respectful, honest.
Why do people say something online or in a text that they would never say to you in person?
I think students should learn about online values because they sometimes say things and they don't even know why, but most of the times they won't say it directly to that person because they're scared or insecure.
When I'm doing my homework, I feel like I just fall into a hole of assignments and reports due. So I use the trick of slow breathing and just take a break. And I try not to make that break too long because I do tend to get stressed out when I put it to the side. But then I remember not to get too wrapped up in it because of the other mechanism of having a positive attitude.
My favorite part of the lesson was the part where we could share our ideas with everyone else because you don't usually get to do that.
We're going to choose a way to describe what a student new to this school can try to make new friends. So you can think about.
We were talking about how easy and difficult it can be to make new friends and some strategies of how to do that.
Because one group had two characters that were very different, I learned that it's not as important that everyone is similar to be friends. It's just more important that, you like each other and you get along well.
If I could go back in time and I can fix that.
I've really enjoyed having the real voices because it's given us a bunch of chances to see how people see their problems differently and how they cope with them. It's cool to know that they're speaking out for themselves and you're not hearing it through someone, so it's actually their personal experiences and it's like real life.